Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the She's Next Level podcast. I'm so happy to have you here as always. And today, we are going to be talking about two very important universal laws. And if you've never gotten into universal laws before, this might be a little bit more advanced for you, but it is still great because universal laws apply to each and every one of us. It's the way the world works. And when you learn how the world works, then you can make it work to your advantage because in the world, again, there is an equal amount of positive and an equal amount of negative. And so there's always a positive side to something and there's always a negative side to something, and the universe is constantly remaining in balance. So when we're not utilizing these two laws, we are out of balance for the most part. And these two laws have really been a game changer for me. I have also been diving deeper into understanding these laws so that I can master them and really be able to use them to my advantage. And if you ever felt like, I'm doing all this inner work, or like, I constantly have been trying to work on this issue that I have been working on for a while now and nothing seems to change, or like I haven't really been seeing any improvement in the things that I'm working on and the results that I desire in my life, then these are the two laws that are the most biggest needle movers and also what you need to look at, because these are constantly playing in the background whether we know it or not. So it's best that we know it and we implement it and we hone in and master it so that we can literally master our life and really be more in control of our life. I started learning about universal laws in general back in 2024 when I first started listening to Manifestation Babe. If you haven't checked her out, she's amazing. I love her podcast. And it was really interesting because there's so many fucking laws, like honestly, out there. There's so many laws and so many yet to discover. My biggest goal is to give you guys the most needle moving, the ones that create the biggest movement in your life to focus on, because there's a lot already out there and we need to focus on simplicity, efficiency. Like that is the way I work. So these are going to be a game changer. Before we dive in, I did want to mention that I am offering one-on-one sessions now. So for anybody that wants to upgrade their health, and also if they're dealing with issues with their hair or chronic stress that they can't just seem to get a hold of and manage, and that feel like it's taking over their life, and also any type of physical symptom going on in the body, we can energetically and then physically heal it so you can have that 100% manifestation of what it is that you desire in healing and upgrading your health, because we not only want to heal, we want to thrive. So if you are interested in getting a one-on-one session, you would need to apply first. So there is a link in the description box below. That one, whatever, I know it's for hair right now, but whatever it is that you want to address, like you can just put that when you're answering the questions in there. I'm currently in the midst of like separating everything with applications so I can keep track of everybody. So go ahead and do that if you are interested, but let's get started. So this episode specifically was really inspired because of what I have been going through with my hair. This has been a big part of my mission and why I'm here. Honestly, fascinated by health, as I always have had a love for health and fitness, but just going through the past 3 years of struggling with certain things that started happening in my body, and then my hair, and like the white hairs that were like showing up. It was really interesting because I didn't realize that I was using these energetic laws against me versus with me. And that's what was actually fucking me when I noticed that one of my clients, she got results way faster with her hair than I have. And I'll be getting into this later, why sometimes this can happen and why everyone's journey is so unique and different. People's results can be inspiration for us and like to show us what's possible, but not to compare. And I was here again comparing of like, okay, she's got these results and it was really impressive. It was amazing. Her results are on my Instagram if you guys ever want to check it out. And yeah, I was just a little bit frustrated. And from that place, I had to make a decision. And this is what I want you guys to first start with, is everything starts with a choice and a decision. And I want you guys to really just decide, like, do I want to continue on this comparison rabbit hole and this way of feeling triggered all the fucking time and noticing how things aren't working for me? Or do I want to make a decision to see the opposite? Do I want to make a decision to see how things are working for me and to not just focus on the lack, right? And not to let it get to me and really be more in control of my perception, because that's literally, if I was to fucking sum up like all of this inner work that we do, is the ability to literally control your perception, because your perception then creates a perspective, the thoughts, then the beliefs, and then the feelings, and then it all just goes into that cycle. But you have the ability with your conscious mind to control the perspective, to control the narrative. And I get it. It's hard when you're physically like looking at yourself. Like for me, when I was like physically just looking at my hair, I'm looking at my face all day anyway. So it's like my eyes would just go straight to that and I would just be looking at it, and then I'd just be like, fuck, like nothing's working, nothing's changing. And I really get in my head about it, right? When it's like you're experiencing it and it feels so real to you, I get it that it could be difficult, at least initially in the beginning of wanting to focus on the opposite and the whole perception. We get that. Like we understand it, but it's like, how do we get to that? And I just want to mention that your eyes can fuck with you. This is why body dysmorphia is a thing, is because when our perception is out of balance, we are seeing things out of balance. Like everything internally is reflected externally. And so your eyeballs are literally showing you things that are not there. That is not true, because it's not, especially if you are doing the inner work, you are making a conscious choice to at least fucking throw a bone, do something to shift, to heal, do what you need to do to give yourself what you desire, or give yourself the health that you honestly deserve. You know, like health gets to be a choice, and it gets to be an act of self-love. And without it, I feel like just so many people are not taking it as seriously as it needs to be, and like how much our body like really shows up for us, and really just acknowledging that and giving it what it needs. One more thing I wanted to mention when I was talking about earlier around why some of us can seem to be getting results way quicker than others is because there are younger souls and older souls in this world. We have all lived multiple lifetimes, and we all have soul contracts. And this is going to be really, really helpful in also helping you just not compare your results to someone else's, because this is what also shows you that maybe if you have been putting in the work and you haven't been able to see the kind of results that you've been wanting to, your higher self is so fucking smart. She is helping you gain a level of mastery that maybe somebody else is not available for them because they're just not there yet. And when I understood this of why my higher self didn't just give me the results right away, like obviously I am seeing progress. There is progress happening. There is movement happening. I have definitely seen my hair shift a lot. And more than that, I always tell my clients this is check your energy. Notice the subtle changes, like the 1% every day in your energy and how you feel, because that is what really is moving the needle. Like the energetics is always happening behind the scenes. And that is the key to have the physical manifestation pop up, because it is all happening from that root. So with this understanding, knowing that, hey, maybe I am a higher frequency soul, and maybe my higher self has a bigger purpose with this for me, then it's okay. I know ultimately that I'm going to get to the end result, and not to give up on that, because you understand this piece, and that therefore you're also not comparing your results with somebody else's and what's going on. Because I know a lot of us do this. If I'm doing it, definitely know there are a lot of people out there doing it. So this piece is really going to help you kind of neutralize that comparison and understand that, like, hey, maybe my higher self definitely probably has a reason for this. Maybe there is a piece that needs to be added in that hasn't been implemented yet, and that is still getting me closer to what it is that I want. And I get to then attain this knowledge and wisdom, and I have this piece that can never be taken from me, that I have, that like nobody else has in the way that I do. And that is motherfucking amazing. Okay, so we're gonna get into it. The two universal laws are the law of focus, which honestly is the same as law of attraction. but I'm going to explain it in a way that makes it land for you, is what my intention is, because that was the first introduction that I had to all the laws. I was a big, and I still am, a big Abraham Hicks fan. I've read all her books twice, actually. I'm actually planning on going back to it because it's pretty much the same as the Law of Focus. And I will say, intuitively looking in as well, that her information is more source aligned, higher frequency information than a lot of the other stuff out there. So if you ever do have a chance to check out her books, highly recommend. And the other law is the law of balance. So the law of focus is typically what you focus on is what you get more of. And I feel like to some extent we all know this, but we don't know how to use it to our advantage. Or maybe we haven't done so, and maybe we have tried, but then our brain just starts going backwards and back into focusing on the other thing without us realizing it, because our subconscious mind literally controls 95% of our reality. And a lot of the programs and the beliefs and things that we have in there can kind of offset us from like trying to focus on what we want to, because the other thing is so dominant. But when I combined it with the law of balance, it worked magic for me. And I'm going to share a story with you guys around how I did that and how this is like my new go-to and like my new focus and way of living, because it's been such a game changer. But essentially, law of focus is, in my opinion, focusing on what's working versus what's not. And that's the way that I'm reframing it now, is what is working in my life, what it is that I want to focus on. There is this intention setting practice that Abraham Hicks shared in one of her books, and I fucking loved it. Before I even like got into any of the higher frequency information and the tools and the education and the training that I've been doing since like 2024, I was practicing it, and I still do to this day. It's very simple. Setting the intention literally is your ability to guide your energy into what it is that you want to guide it to. That's how powerful we are. So just set the intention every morning that no matter where I go, no matter what I'm doing, no matter whom I'm around, it is my dominant intention to focus on the things that I like, to see what it is that I want to see. Setting that intention with leveraging the law of focus to your advantage, of like focusing on what's working, so that again, what you focus on is what you're going to get more of. So if you're focusing on how things are not working because, you know, it just hasn't been that way, of course it's easier to focus on it more and more and more. But I want you to like stop and interrupt that pattern and set that intention in the morning and be like, higher self, help me with this. We are going to start to focus on what's working, what it is that I like, what it is that I want to see, and start that going, like start that momentum going in that direction. And anytime a thought creeps in, or anytime anything like that happens, switch it out to the opposite. Look for evidence, give your brain evidence of how that is not true, of focusing on the opposite of that thing. And I do feel like the law of focus really fucks with a lot of people, because it is natural for our body and our brain to scan for threats, because it's just a primal instinct. So it's easy for you to, you know, focus on the threat of the thing not working. But we're going to start training your brain, because we can, to start focusing on what's working. Then we have the law of balance. And the law of balance is like the unconditional self-love law, in my opinion. You actually start to gain more levels of unconditional self-love, which is a huge part of my work as well, where it's like full acceptance is what it is in essence, and love all parts of yourself unconditionally, literally the word unconditional self-love. And so with the law of balance, because everything has to be in balance in the world, you have an equal amount of positive of something, and then you have an equal amount of negative of something. And what ties into that is your perception, because that ultimately is neutrality. It's like the classic example of a knife, right? Like you can use it to kill somebody, and that can be perceived as a negative thing, and that could be a negative thing. But then you can also use it to feed yourself and make food with it, and that is a positive thing. And so the tool itself is not negative or positive, it's neutral. It's the same as money, right? Like you can use money to kill somebody, or I don't know what these examples are coming through like super extreme, but I want to like have this land for you guys. You can use the money to hire somebody to like do some bad things, right? Or whatever. And then you can use the money to go on a vacation. That's a great thing. And even that, like vacations, not everybody loves them. Like there's positives and negatives to vacations too. So you guys just start thinking of the positives and the negatives and start training your brain to notice that there are equal amount of positives and negatives. And a lot of us tend to focus on the negatives of the situation and the things that we feel like aren't working, that we don't want to happen, that we are even fearful of. And want you to start focusing on the positives anytime that comes up for you. If you have 5 negative things about something, then neutralize that bitch out with 5 other positive things, but at least find 3 positive things. Like make that a habit. Anytime you feel something isn't working, or you feel like something isn't happening for you, or you feel like, oh, I don't want this to happen, any fear-based thoughts or whatever it is, like the situation that you've been dealing with for so long and you're just not seeing the perfection in it, the positives in it, I want you to start training your brain to do so, because that not only neutralizes that fear, but then it also neutralizes your emotions, because your emotions fucking make you spiral if you don't get them in check, if you don't control them. And it really helps you then. This is where I'm coming in with the law of focus. Then from that neutral place, focus on the thing you actually want to focus. So they both go hand in hand. And I think they're so important, especially if you're just getting into the laws of the universe and you really want to focus on the one that creates the biggest movement for you, the one that creates the biggest shifts for you, that moves the needle the most. These are the 2 laws that I recommend. I've been implementing more in my life and I fucking love it. And that's why I have a story to share with you guys of how this all clicked for me, because it was when I was in dance class and I remember seeing hair like everywhere. I mean, that is subjective to a lot of people, but I was just noticing, hair here as I move, hair there. My hair was loose. And then I would see that like more and more. And it wasn't even specifically just like seeing the hair everywhere, because you can see it and just feel neutral about it, but it was a way that I was seeing it and my emotion and my awareness about it. And you have to pay attention to that, because do not lie to yourself, bitch. I see you. Don't lie to yourself. But it was a fear that I felt when I saw it, because I already knew what I was working on with my hair too. And I remember I had 2 people, one of them was my friend, and somebody else, a client, was telling me that she was applying because she was dealing with hair loss. Then I had a friend of mine who told me about a scare that she had, that she was starting to lose more hair and then she got it under control. And so I guess my brain was just tying the pieces together, and there is a universal law about that. We're not going to get into that today because I don't want to overwhelm you guys. But if you guys do want to learn more about these laws, let me know, because that's the other one that I've been working on. And I felt some fear around it. I was like looking at it, paying attention. It shifted my energy too, because I was there having fun, but then that was still in the back of my mind. And so when I went in the car, I was like, okay, we need to look into this. And of course, it's great when you have developed and trained your intuition and you practice using your intuition more. We all have it. We just got to practice trusting it and like listening to it and tuning more into it by connecting with ourselves, connecting with our higher selves. It's always there. So I use intuition to check in and see what's going on. What I got from my higher self was these were the laws that needed to be implemented together, which is really, really cool, because the protocol that I got was an exercise that I actually give to my clients to neutralize the fear and also get themselves emotionally balanced out. So that's exactly what I did that evening, implemented the law of balance. So then I did that evening. I neutralized that fear and I went through the protocol. And then the other piece of the protocol was the law of focus implementation. So for me, it was basically focusing on the opposite, focusing on how I already have, and I actually do, like you see my hair if you're watching the video, have a lot of fucking hair. I've even had, when I would go to the salon, I've even had like some people be like, damn, you got a lot of hair, you know? So like focusing on how I already have a lot of hair and my hair is beautiful, that it's amazing and it's perfect and I love it. And also externally noticing beautiful hair all around me. this protocol was for 3 days. So it was implementing 3 days, and I was intuitively checking in my progress every evening to like test out the whole thing to see how it works. And as I was going throughout the days, I would notice when I set my intentions and doing the best in my intent to like focus. And it was amazing because when you ask your higher self to help you, like it helps and it works. Because anytime I noticed myself seeing somebody that didn't have much hair or whatever, like my eyeballs would immediately shift over. And it was like really cool to see somebody with like great hair again and shift my focus again. So that was really, really cool. At the end of it, the third day, as I obviously neutralized my fear, got myself into seeing the perfection, and then started to implement the law of focus for those 3 days, I was technically a match for hair loss when I intuitively looked in on the day one, 26% out of 100% being a full match. That is how I measure my intuition and the accuracy of my information. Is I measure it on a scientific level from like 0 to 100% being the most highest amount. And 26% is not much. Yes, it's not much. And most people would ignore that shit. But that is when you want to catch it. And I also wanted to do this experiment. I felt the pull to do it. Duh. I see the reason why we're here. So then I was like, okay, let's nip this in the bud now because I don't want to handle it later on. If that happens, if I ignore this, when it's even harder for me to implement the law of focus like it would be versus handling it when it's not as big of a deal. It's just way easier. So I was like, let's work on this now. I saw the difference of the percentages of how much that tool that I had of the fear neutralizing tool shifted and bought that down, that match, and then how much the law of focus brought it down. And in totality, within 3 days, it went from 26% being a match to 4% being a match. And holy shit, like it's so crazy how things can shift for you and change for you by implementing both of these laws. And there were other moments too where I was really implementing the law of balance for myself. I've really been like going in at that more and more because it really again helps me neutralize my emotions and gets me to like a neutral grounded place so I can make better decisions in my life and then start to leverage the law of focus to my advantage. And then that helps reduce my brain from going on this loop and this pattern and trying to go back. It's like, no, the opposite is true and things are working for me. And then it starts going on this better rabbit hole of like, yes, let's look for more evidence of how things are working. Let's look for more evidence of how it's amazing and where it's perfect where we are now. One other thing that happened, which was really cool too, apart from that, from implementing this law and creating that momentum of law of focus, is that when I washed my hair the other day, I had less hair come out than the week prior. And I was just like, wow, this is so good. Because obviously we do release some hair when we're washing our hair, and I do get that, but it was just so different. And I was like, wow, this stuff really is working and something is shifting. And so I'm going to keep doing this. So I'm going to give you guys 2 things to help you start to implement these laws, the law of focus and law of balance, into your life, so that you can take advantage of it and have it work in your favor. So then you can also start to see the shifts happening way faster for you because you're utilizing these laws. Now, there are other tools and other things, and I give this to my clients, that you will need to fully see like 100% of the result that you desire, especially if you're dealing with anything physically. But this will help you get started in the right direction. So the first thing is that I want you guys to start shifting your perception of the results happening in your life and like the things working based on the way that you're feeling, not by what you're actually seeing. This has been a game changer for me as well as my clients, because the thing is that everything is happening energetically first, and there is energetic accumulation. The physical reality takes time to catch up to what's going on to manifest physically into your life so that you can hold it. And I always tell myself and tell everybody else, you don't want something that you don't feel safe to hold. That's actually going to make you feel worse, because if you don't feel safe to hold it yet, if you don't feel the energy behind the thing that you're calling in and you feel safe to have it and to hold it, there's no fucking point. Like, just let it accumulate, let the energetics work and do its thing. Stick with it, because it's going to work if you stick with it, and it'll happen. So I want you guys to start doing the same thing of, how am I feeling just even 1% better every day? 1% is all you need to focus on. Like, one little thing that happened, because I guarantee you there's always growth happening every day for you. There's always momentum happening. There's always something that went in your favor that is working, that is adding on to getting you closer to the thing that you desire to experience, to the shifts that you want in your health, in your life. You need to look for it. You need to focus in on it. So that is the first thing. Then the second thing is an exercise that I want you guys to implement. And this is going to be implementing both of these laws together. Start with picking an area of your life where you are having judgment and thoughts about what you're wanting to improve and feeling like this isn't working. I want you guys to just pick one area of life to start with. And I want you to look at it from a third person perspective. It's really cool when you do this, because when you do, you are setting your emotions aside and you are looking at something objectively from a place of neutrality. And this is where you want to get to. No matter what you do, any decision you make sure you are neutral. That is like the most aligned decision that you can make, is from that place. And so to get there, I want you to see from a third person perspective, like try to see from outside of yourself, like what's going on. And then I want you to leverage the law of balance by balancing out the situation, by finding 3 positives about it. And take it a step further, 3 positives if it never changes. And I know you're like, bitch, I want it to change. I know, but this neutralizes the fear. This neutralizes the fear of having it. So once you find the 3 positives about having it, and also what if it never changes? What if nothing happens and it just stays the same? How is that perfect? And then once you're on that balanced, neutral place, then you can leverage the law of focus and then focus on what it is that you want by proving to your brain how it's not true. How it's not true that the thing you're experiencing right now, this problem, the situation, how it's not true. Like, you're not denying it, but you're also not giving it your focus anymore. And so you're proving to your brain the opposite of how things are working. Things are working. You are making momentum. You are making progress. What is working out in your life around that thing that you know is there? You need to fucking dig deep, bitch. You know. And if you have a hard time doing that, you guys can also focus in on the things that are working out in that area of life. I want you guys to just start training your brain to pattern interrupt that negative loop and then start to focus on how things are working out for you already. I will say the belief of things are working out for me has been such a great foundational belief to have. And I really do feel like it utilizes that law of focus in a way, because you are seeing the perfection in everything that ends up happening, but then you're also choosing to focus on what is working for you, because then you're ultimately going to get more evidence of that, more of that, and then it's really going to give you what you need to fully shift and make it easier, honestly, make it easier on yourself. So I want you to implement these tools right away. Okay, a fucking sap, bitch. A fucking sap. Let me know if you guys do implement these exercises, and I want to know what results that you guys get, the shifts that you start to feel, and the things that you start to notice in your life by implementing this, because I know like it doesn't take long. It starts to happen right away. And as long as you pay attention in the tiny ways that it is, it will literally create like a domino effect for you. So hit me up on Instagram. My Instagram is Darsh Vibes, DARSHVIBESS. If you do implement this, I want to hear all about it. I want to hear what shifts that you're experiencing, your wins. Also, if you haven't left me a review, please review this podcast. 5 stars, of course. It means a lot, and also like it really helps get the podcast out there to more women like us. And I wouldn't be able to do it without you, honestly. Women who want to look hotter, want to feel healthier, want to be happier. This is what we do here. Also, let me know if you guys want a part 2 of this episode. I did mention another law that I have also been working with that also goes great with these 2 laws. Let me know if you guys want to hear about it. I'm more than happy to make an episode around it, but focus on these first. And I will catch you guys in the next episode. Bye.